What's happening, friends? Trumpeter Bobby Spellman here to welcome you to our second episode in our Transcription series. These episodes, we're talking about Freddie Hubbard, one of the great trumpet players of all time. Late Night Hangs with Bob and Freddie Hubbard, and this great album, Wayne Shorter's Speak No Evil, one of my favorite albums of all time. Recorded on December 24th of 1964 and released in 1966 on Blue Note. I don't know why they took 2 years to release it, but such is the nature of the recording industry in the 60s. Nonetheless, filled with great solos. We can remember from the first episode, and in case you haven't seen it, quick recap, this was happening in Wayne Shorter's life when he was writing and recording this album, as he had just left Art Blakey's band, and he had just joined the Miles Davis Quintet. He did one record with Miles Davis live in Berlin at that time. That was recorded in, if I'm not mistaken, September of 1964. This was recorded December of 1964. So what we notice on these tracks is a combination of that, sort of a middle ground between that Art Blakey blues, down-home, swinging, no-nonsense approach and the more ethereal kind of abstract approach that they would get into in the more post-bop era in the 1960s. So, after having done Witch Hunt last week, we're going to cover the great Freddie Hubbard solo on Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum on this episode of Theory with Bob. All right, if you haven't heard the tune in a while and you want to get refreshed on how it goes, you can pause the video right now and go listen to Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum in its entirety. Or we can continue on with Freddie Hubbard's solo on Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum. One quick thing that you want to know is I'm going to display this in concert pitch so that everybody can get into it and we can communicate about it all together. However, if you would like to follow along in your key of choice, whether it be B flat or E flat instead, you can find a copy of the PDF in your favorite key down in the description below. All right, and without further ado, here it is, Freddie Hubbard solo on Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum. All right, there we have it. Freddie Hubbard's delightful one-chorus solo on Wayne Shorter's Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum. Now, before we get into the specifics of what Freddie is playing in this solo, I want to mention, as I mentioned with Witch Hunt, one of the things that makes this tune really cool, and I think this album really cool, is Wayne Shorter as a composer, his ability to blend the real down-home, no-nonsense blues approach that he was able to take in the Art Blakey band, and then meld that with the more sort of forward-thinking, ethereal, abstract approach that was gaining steam in the mid-60s. So here, it's almost as though he switched the approach, where in Witch Hunt, it's a big modal section followed by some faster-moving chords. In Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum, we can see here we've got some faster-moving chords followed by a bridge that is basically just the 4 to the 1 in dominant chords, creating a very bluesy approach. Now, the reason I mention that now is because Freddie really digs in to, I would say, the contrast between those two sections, but Freddie, probably better than anybody ever, was able to really combine his knack for these kind of advanced hard bop, post-bop phrases with just that down-home, no-nonsense blues, and that makes for a really great solo. So, let's kick it off from the beginning. We'll do the first phrase. It sounds like this. All right, I like with Witch Hunt and also his other solos on this record and also a bunch of his other solos in other records and other times, Freddie Hubbard comes out guns a-blazing on this one. It's kind of amazing. He just wants to kick it off right away with this phrase. Freddie has arrived on that phrase. Here he's landing right on the sharp 11 of that E-flat 7 sharp 11 chord in the beginning. He's hanging around the kind of G minor sound that is sort of the foundation of the A section of this tune. And he's just making it through the changes. You can see on that D minor 7 chord, he's just outlining a little arpeggio here. A lot of the time hanging out on the sharp 11 of that E-flat 7 sharp 11 chord. He's got a fast run over here with the 16th note. Sounds like this. So there, even in the A section, he's really leaning into those triplets. Once again, the drummer on this recording is the one and only Elvin Jones. And Elvin really brings a certain atmosphere to this record that I think is really cool. In some of Wayne Shorter's later records, he's got Tony Williams on drums. Tony Williams, one of the great jazz drummers of all time. But what Elvin brings to the table is a very deep kind of triplet swing that you can hear in his playing with Coltrane, of course, and in many other circumstances. And I feel like the record really has, Elvin's presence in the record really brings a certain feel to this whole thing. So that whole first section, you can hear Freddie, transitioning between these kind of faster 16th note lines and a triplet feel, but he's always playing in a fairly relaxed way. But then, when we hit the bridge, he's going full blues on this one. Right in the pocket. You love that. You love it. All right, so for trumpet players, and especially for non-trumpet players, you will notice that he's using a half-valve technique in order to get that kind of greasy A-flat on those chords. All right, that's a beautiful sound. Freddie's really digging into the blues of this section of the tune. You can hear it. They're really cooking. They're really digging in. And you can hear him playing those blues phrases, still leaving a pretty good amount of space. Freddie in this record, it's not a million notes a second. He's leaving space and really sitting in that groove in a certain way. All right, and then that's followed by this other little bluesy phrase. And there we have, just explicitly stated, the B-flat blues scale. I often tell my students that the blues scale is like a spice in the music, and when you can use it effectively, ooh, man, it's a nice touch. If you use it too much, if you're starting to improvise and you're throwing the blues scale into everything, it might be like putting too much spice in your food, but if you use it in those right spots, whew, that's a sweet move. All right, moving on. Now we've got that little a couple of 2/5s, B flat minor 7 to E flat 7 to A minor 7 to D7. So we're moving down in half steps. And I just want to point this out, how great a transition it is between these 2/5s. He does it so seamlessly, you don't even notice what's happening in the moment. But he does it spot on. So here we have a very B flat Dorian kind of sound. And then he's going to transition seamlessly into that A Dorian sound. Those two keys are not closely related. Of course, they're closely related in terms of half steps, but in terms of the circle of fifths, they're not closely related. But nonetheless, he's able to just so smoothly transition between those two keys. So that's going to sound a little something like this. I'll try to play it for you. All right, there you can just hear how seamlessly he connects that sound of the B-flat Dorian, E-flat Mixolydian sound right directly into that A Dorian, D Mixolydian sound, resolving so nicely there at the end of that D7 chord. Now from there, we're jumping back into triplets again. So we're in Elvin Jones land, and triplets reign supreme on this record. We're really swinging. And you can hear him use this little motive through the next couple of bars, really harping on not only the triplet feel, but also in particular moving around in fourths. There are a lot of fourths in this album. Fourths create a lot of harmonic ambiguity. So if you can play around with fourths, you can sort of obscure what the tonic is. I've mentioned that in one of my How to Play Outside the Changes videos, so you can check that out. But you can hear a little bit if I'm just playing around in fourths. It's hard in that moment to figure out exactly where the tonic is. So Wayne Shorter was using a lot of fourths at this time. Not only was he using fourths in the harmonies, but I mean, Witch Hunt itself is a melody entirely composed of fourths. So here, Freddie, living in fourth world for a little while, starts playing around with these fourths. Sounds like this with the triplets. So there's your fourth right there. Wow, it's really hard. Okay. He's doing it on the fly, man. Some of these lines are so hard, it's crazy. So after navigating some of these wild chords, now he's coming back to a safe landing back on that E flat 7 sharp 11 chord at the beginning of this little chord cycle. Just playing that blues. And then ends it with such a bluesy phrase. And there he ends with that beautiful little bluesy phrase, bringing the solo to a close and leaving it open for Wayne Shorter to take over from there. What a great solo, right, gang? It's got everything you need. It's got a lot of rhythmic excitement. You've got some pretty advanced kind of post-bop, hard-bop language in here, and then thrown in the mix, unrepentant blues from Freddie Hubbard. This is a great solo. There's also a lot of things that Freddie does, and you'll notice this in particular as he goes on through the 60s. I think there's quite a lot of this in Maiden Voyage. If you want to check out more Freddie 60s stuff, if you are not familiar with it, definitely be sure to check out the other Wayne Shorter records, The Soothsayer and others, as well as Herbie Hancock's Maiden Voyage. And in Maiden Voyage in particular, you can check out Freddie Hubbard really takes a lot of these more abstract, let's say textural and rhythmic concepts a little bit farther, and it's pretty amazing stuff, so you can definitely check that out. But one thing that you hear a lot from Freddie Hubbard that I like a lot is that holding those long notes to create this sort of suspense, and then quickly with a little flourish, and then we're out. So one more time. And you're just hanging out on that note for a little while. Freddie, despite his knack for pyrotechnics on the trumpet and pretty advanced rhythms and the sort of very physical approach to playing the trumpet, he was really a master of leaving that space and just having beautiful beginnings and ends to his phrases and his solos. So this is a great example of that. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. A little breakdown of Freddie Hubbard's solo on Wayne Shorter's great tune, Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum, from the great album Speak No Evil. If you like this and you want to check out the remaining 2 Freddie Hubbard solos from this album on Speak No Evil itself and on Wildflower, you can check out the Patreon. Boink! Right here. Follow the link in the description below or type this address into your browser and you can find me over there. And if you want to support us on Patreon, I'll give you all of the scores for the rest of the transcriptions from this album. And you can check this out for yourself and practice what Freddie Hubbard was playing back in December of 1964. I also recommend that in, checking out these recordings, you kind of try to take some of these ideas and develop them into your own ideas organically by breaking them down and trying to come up with ideas of your own and exercises that you can extrapolate from these various solos in order to really make this a part of your psyche rather than just flagrantly stealing from Freddie Hubbard or ignoring it altogether. All right, so there's a lot that can be done with these kinds of solos. Hope you had fun with that. And if you did, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. we'll catch you in the next one. All right, gang. Happy practicing. See you next time.
Theory with Bob.
All right, friends, thanks so much for checking out this video. We hope it helps in your quest for the majesty of musical self-expression. If you like what we're doing here, you can give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. And if you'd like to support the creation of new videos like this, you can become a subscriber on our Patreon page at patreon.com/Ridgewood School of Music. There, subscribers will have access to more in-depth follow-up videos, as well as solo transcriptions, various musical exercises, and all kinds of fun stuff. If you'd like to follow me on my musical adventures, you can find me on Instagram at Bob Spellman, and you can follow the Ridgewood School of Music's other social media pages by following the links in the description below. The Ridgewood School of Music is currently accepting new students online or in person in the New York City area. If you're interested in lessons, you can find us at www.ridgewoodschoolofmusic.com, or you can send us an email at ridgewoodschoolofmusic@gmail.com, and we can set you up with a great teacher for the instrument and the style of music that you're interested in studying. All right, gang, well, have a wonderful time practicing, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Let's do it again. Bye.